Welcome to the shop. I'm Jared, and this is not the questionable garage. It is a questionable viewer's garage because I got an email. I get a lot of emails, and not always do I get a chance to look or respond, but this one caught my attention. It was, hey, I have to be out of my house by this particular day. I haven't been able to get my project card done. Please come take it. I'm a sucker for something free. So we grabbed our buddy James and headed all the way down to Brunswick, Georgia to try to do what he's not been able to get done in 6 years. Make it run and drive. And then drive it 300 miles home. Also, the day before I came down, I found out it's only been driven about 3 miles before the restoration. So everything's going in our favor. We're here with James. James, why do you decide to do things like this with me?
It's a fun adventure and a Ramcharger. Like,
Fair enough. And the only person more questionable than you and me would be the guy who sent me an email and said, please, can you come get this out of my garage? Mathew.
Yeah, super questionable on this one.
All right, so why a Ramcharger?
So first, I love Mopar, and there's not much dumber than a Ramcharger without the roof on. But it also serves as a truck. If I need to get a piece of plywood in here, it's big enough to fit a piece of plywood. But I also, throw a kayak in the back, throw a bike in the back, go over to Jekyll Island, and just hang out. So that was the plan. And of course, I like to be a little bit different, obviously.
Yeah, the bright green. I mean, that's a Mopar, high intensity color. Like Mopars are known for that. You look at the Fords, you look at the Blazer, they didn't get exciting colors.
No. Mopar definitely did it right, and they did big displacement. Although this is a 360,
yeah.
But you could shove something much bigger in here. I think they came with 440s too.
Yeah.
So
now, have you done anything to the scale before? Like what?
Not before. The most I'd done is I'd worked on a 67 Barracuda, and I'd taken everything out, but it's a unibody, so it's not a frame off type of thing. But no, I decided when I was going to do this, I was going to do all of it, and it took 6 years.
I mean, realistically though, for at-home hobby shop, 6 years, that's a reasonable amount of time. And then you've hit where you're at now, and what I hate for you is you trusted two shops to just push it to the finish line.
Yep.
If there's some wires. We'll look at those when we do our walk around here in a second. So the first shop you said ended up closing.
Yeah, they closed just randomly. I guess they fired the mechanics there, and so I took it back. I actually installed the MSD ignition system in it, and then took it to another shop. And I was very specific because it didn't have a top on it. I was very specific, it needs to be inside. And then it sat outside for 3 months. And that's where some of this rust came from.
If you're at all familiar with a coastal town, they're not the best. And that's, probably one reason why you did take the time to treat it. And what did they get done aside from making it rusty?
Well, eventually, after, again, 3 months, some ruined parts because I had a bucket in the back with parts, and they just let water get in. They did replace the inner seals on the front axle, which is a pain.
Yeah.
So I was happy about that, and they timed it. Is it timed? We'll see. Because I haven't started it since.
Yeah, it doesn't run, so it's kind of hard to know if it's timed or not.
Well, I have started it, and then there was another issue with it, and that's where we are today. And I just ran out of time, and I'm selling this house.
And I want to drive this 302. We had a wonderful drive down last night in Powder Keg. It was comfortable.
very pleasant. Almost too pleasant.
Well, the good news is that's your ride back.
That is the good news for me.
This is my ride back. Now, answer the questionable choice. Why did you email me and just say, can you please take this out of my life?
Was it Marketplace or you wanted to be able to watch it get finished?
Well, both.
Okay.
Marketplace is a questionable choice to begin with. It actually went on eBay as well and just got no bids. I mean, like $5,000 or something like that. So that's when I was like, hey, it would be cool to see this get done, and it would be cool because it is a questionable choice. It would be cool to see it, come to fruition on your channel.
That sounds like a big vote of confidence, James.
Absolutely. You know, the fan base knows what we're about, and this is right in line.
So I wasn't planning to add a bright green. I almost feel like I know you named him Carlos.
Naming rights change after ownership changes.
I'm kind of thinking it's December. Green and red. I mean, do we go Pringle? We'll see.
The Grinch.
The Grinch, yeah. I mean,
It depends on how well it goes.
the Grinch feels a little easy, you know. We'll see how it goes. All right, so under hood, getting a look at what we're dealing with, you could tell a lot of work went into this truck, and there are a lot of nice parts. So upgrading, this was right in the borderline of reliable Mopar ignition systems, but I said borderline. This didn't quite have the good ignition box, the ones that would fail. Not as bad as a DuraSpark or the Never Sparks, but this was upgraded to the modern distributor ignition box. Makes them just a little bit more reliable. Every O'Reilly is gonna have an ignition box around for you. Does have that on it. That is something I am not good with, but we will make it work. I am definitely, as Derek calls it, a bleep bloop guy. This is a carburetor. We'll turn some screws and maybe make something happen there. But something he was getting into and admitted was not his strong point, is the wiring. And when you're also diagnosing a problem, you unsheath all the work that you did to make the wiring nice. And it currently looks like an Italian's worst nightmare. That's a lot of spaghetti. And one thing I am noticing that I need to look into more, we have modern ignition, but we still have a ballast resistor. And if we follow, we got one pink wire going to, so that's gonna be one thing we'll need to fix pretty quickly, is our ballast resistor is running to our ignition box. I think that's gonna turn it off. We will try and see if we can get it to replicate the problem. Maybe I'm here, it's just gonna start up first try, but that's the big problem to figure out. We've got new brakes. Maybe they're bled. It does not look like a wiper motor is wired. Perfect for those rainy days. Not one ground, it's got a good connection. I love how all the Mopars end up with the washer on each side. More wiring down there. There's a little bit to clean up. And then that's the spares. I think we're gonna be set for just about anything we could want. We got steering columns, we got windows, we have emblems, we got gaskets. I have seat foam. I wonder if that's the optional rear seat. You just put a piece of bench foam down, and that's what she sat on. I got doors and core supports and cowls and inner fender. Like, we are set for whatever we might want to do. So hopefully I have enough room to shove all of these parts in. Also, I must say, it's kind of the cool garage to be working in for the past 6 years. Man, door panels. We're living in the future. Now, I will say, Matthew let me know this was a temporary key setup because he wasn't able to find a suitable factory replacement. So we've got this, so we'll just have to double check and make sure this wiring is also doing what it is supposed to be doing here. Got our headlight switch. Again, when you are doing wiring, leaving stuff loose is not a bad idea. It lets you make sure it's right before it's all tucked away and pretty. There are gauges. What they do, I don't know. But I must say, looking around, this is a far too complete truck, I think. We're gonna have some surprises. Or maybe it's just gonna be a real nice drive home. We'll find out, but we're gonna set up other cameras, try to get it to act up, and then try to actually make it work. All right, so if I remember, you just put the battery and turn the key and...
Last time, yep. And it just... And I don't have a longer...
Battery cable?
Yeah, battery cable, so...
I brought some stuff to build battery cables, I figured. Or we potentially go to the store. I'm hoping we get it fired up, James, so then, we can look at it before taking off. Mm-hmm. Although we did see the pecan pie factory. Did you find out if they were open on Sundays?
I didn't know.
Was it Stokey?
Yeah, Stuckies.
Stockies, yeah. I was like, dark, and I'm like, isn't that like the Georgia pecan pie?
There's also a Stripling's down here if like the beef jerky and everything.
Oh, man. Let's see. How many?
Because it was going to be open top, so I wanted to be...
Trying to figure this out. Turn. All right, so that is definitely a power delivery issue. So if you listen, it's not clunking. It's... What's it feel like out there? I heard you wiggle the ground and it changed a little. Is it hot? Not yet? Alright, so we might... Is the LED on the 6AL right now? Is the LED on the 6AL right now?
No.
Well, I think step one, James. I want to kind of rebuild our power and grounds, I think. Yeah, it just is not getting the power down that it should. So, I'm wondering if we're fighting weak battery and we'll improve our power and ground. So, like, you see, 4 gauge, double lot. Like, I like overkilling our ground systems and a power feed. Just, you make it easier. We're not building a spec race car. So if we're building a spec race car or something you need as light as possible, you do the math and you're like, this load needs this size. And that's
all we're going to put in it.
Because weight, because you think about it, you know, feel how that's as short as that is, like substantial weight.
Beefy. Yeah.
Like there's substantial weight to that. So when you're trying to save every ounce possible, for me, it's just I need to lose weight. For the car,
like a spec Miata car, like you're not going to run wires this big on anything.
Yeah, unless you absolutely have to have it. So, you know what we might do? I may give James a camera. I'm going to work on the wiring. We're going to look the thing over and make a quick shopping list. That might be what we do. How's that sound, James?
Sounds good.
How's it going under there, James?
Pretty good. Everything's pretty decent. Motor mount bolts needed a little snugging down. Everything else is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with everything I see.
I'm not happy with battery prices.
Me neither.
Remember when you can get a good battery for 70, 80 bucks?
Yeah, I like the Walmart value crap or whatever they call it.
Well, we're a Super Start family, James.
I also really enjoy where I am. I like the Moreland Battery Exchange. They're $20, $30 for a battery. And is it a good battery? It's a $30 battery. Usually it functions better than the dead battery.
Well, this one should make it work because that was $230.
As the batteries cost lately, yes.
It's
I believe that 1,000%.
so I'm gonna wire it up, and then we're gonna start this, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna fire it up and pull it right out on the road.
And then we find out if he bled the brakes.
They look bled.
All right, let's see. We were pushing in a red wire and an ignition wire. So we'll get this on the other side. This goes to the MSD and we'll need an ignition. And then we pushed in a pink wire. Nope, right here. That's what I'm looking for. So just for now, it's got the, unfortunately that's female to female. We're gonna change an end. Nothing is more permanent than temporary wiring that works. James, can you hand me the meter? So what I'm gonna double check, I could use Google, but ignition 2, I'm talking to a camera in here too. Ignition 2, I think we can just plug that right into. Thank you. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna check for continuity while we're in a crank position between battery and ignition 2 to make sure it keeps power. That's interesting. This ignition switch is not making sense. Its power's not quite passing through like it should. Those are just generic Chevy, Dodge, whatever ignition, right?
Yes.
She's just not really passing the power around like it should inside. None of the ignitions are keeping power during cranking. It jumps over to the ignition 2. So just for now, I'm gonna need a newer temporary switch. All right, fresh battery. Come on.
Getting fuel in the filter.
You are?
Yes. It just got like 2 squirts.
All right, so we'll go a little bit more and we'll get some carb pumps. It's a lot happier with a good battery. She's spinning longer quick.
It looks like the ignition box is blinking, so it's staying on.
All right, let's find some flammable liquid. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, I think I got to pop the carb and we got to look at the float. We're getting no fuel out of her. So we got more gas, and after lots of cranking, it's still not really pumping.
No pumpage.
So the trick is, do we fight that a little more, or do we get click-clack?
I mean, click-clack works. Click-clack is effective. It's proven. And then once we fix it right, then we've got a spare.
Poor James. Do I look at Jared? Do I look at the camera? I don't know where to
Look at everything and nothing.
So now we're looking at
a new part that's bad.
yeah. So wait, the fuel pump's bad?
The supply line is now that could be a torn diaphragm, so like it's just not sucking.
Okay.
But, like there was nothing there.
Gotcha.
I cannot blow on that line at all. It is dead stopped up. Doesn't go either direction. So James is over here following the length front to back, and we are trying to get a look in here. The rubber hose there, that's the vent, which is not our culprit. And we're trying to see, what do you see? Help me out, guys. Comment below, do you see the problem? Because we don't yet. All right, so I can't see the camera, but you see that fuel line now that's loose, and it's ever so slightly flat. It had moved just far enough back to be pinched flat. So I'm hoping we can blow through from the front now, and the mechanical pump might be okay. So I'm gonna put it back in line, and we'll save our clicky clack for backups. All right, so our next step is to see if the Edelbrock is taking fuel. So James saw all the fun and wanted to blow too. All right, so Gas or pump?
I think we got a gas level issue.
Kiss. Mm-hmm. Keep it simple.
Simple-ish.
You put several gallons in a year ago and it evaporates. So.
Probably. And it was 4.5 gallons probably of a 28-gallon tank. 28-gallon tank.
Maybe just
you know
enough
what my
to wet
fuel
the
bill
pickup?
is going to be? I have two very fuel inefficient vehicles. 600 miles more worth of...
Two 10-mile-a-gallon cars, that's the same as like one 5-mile-a-gallon car, so...
10 miles a gallon? You can get that out of this?
We're hoping...
Because I was thinking 6.
All right, so as I was pulling the carburetor off, James said, "Kiss, keep it simple, stupid," and look more at our fuel delivery. So we cranked it, and we're not getting any fuel past here. So we might be out of gas, or we might have a clogged filter. So this is one of the most dangerous filters to run these hot rod through screw togethers. Don't, but this is the carb side, so we're just gonna see if it's clogged here. Well, it's not clogged, but it's also making music, so it's got that going for it.
James, can you blow on it?
I'll try. Oh, I can blow all the way through it.
Can you suck on it?
I don't want to do that too long, because...
The gas. So, mechanical pump?
I think we should hook it back up and see what happens.
Just give that a go. Get the mechanical back in. Get the mechanical choke hooked up. Make sure that's all back together, and then we might be ready to drive.
I think we're definitely ready to drive. I don't think the car's ready to be driven yet.
Victory! Let's do a couple little things and we'll set it and pull her out.
Status update. I just came from underneath the truck. I finally was, doing some of the dirty work. James is pulling the steering shaft because we discovered the thing that may ruin all of our fun.
Because when I'm doing something questionable and I'm in danger, I'm okay with it. But if I'm doing something questionable and it puts anyone else in danger who didn't sign up or volunteer to be involved, we're not going to do it.
So when we get it out, we can explain a lot more, but this lower coupler has a spring and a couple, floating shim pieces there, and they're kind of all broken apart and not doing anything. It's incredibly loose, and what can happen is you fully brake and disconnect and have no steering, or it locks up And what happens if it locks up?
Well, then you just go in the same direction until something stops you.
Yeah, but in good news, that really bad scratchy noise while running was caused by a bent dust cover, which we expected. In better news, I discovered our flex plate's cracked, but only a little. There's 8 legs to every, the flex plate. There's 4 bolts. Each one has 2, and it's only, I think, 12.5% broken. So that gets you through high school these days.
Got me this far in life.
I'm not worried about that. I am worried about putting other people in danger. So we got it running. It's running pretty good. We haven't tried gear or brakes yet, which isn't a problem, but it needs to be moved out today, and we're prepared for it. We came smart and prepared. More to scoop me off the side of the road, but we may at least be able to empty the garage like we promised.
So James got the steering shaft out, and this is kind of how it should look where it goes into the lower coupler. There's supposed to be a spring. We don't have that. It's very broken. And also, speaking of broken, that's the brand new parts. Also, the kit we were looking at potentially driving 170 miles round trip to get. This truck has driven 0 miles. So I don't know if maybe we should go get that kit, James. So we're gonna try putting this back in, and if we can feel comfortable again without the spring, we'll go back to driving. We'll follow up and let you know what we come up with here in a minute.
All right, well, as you can tell, James is tightening something, and it's not just because we're putting our tail between our leg. I feel pretty good just with the old original parts. It fits in the joint incredibly tight. It sits down at the bottom. No free play. We do not have a spring. That thing is just as broken as everything else. All the movement we're doing to it, I don't see what that spring would do. It obviously goes inside and pushes them out, but they don't push in any. And I can't figure out a condition that they push in. We're wondering if it was just all the years of being pushed around on big tires really shouldn't have broken it. And that's a material failure, right, Jane? I mean,
Yeah.
like that's
that good Chinesium, possibly?
It was a new part when I put it in, so it just obliterated in the shaft.
You know what new means?
What?
It's never ever worked.
No, fair.
Never assume because it's new, it can't be bad. All right, well, let's give it a go. Fire's up good now. Hey, there is a brake pedal. I haven't checked that yet. We may not have enough transmission fluid. Oh, we're moving. Glove box is open. Alrighty. I gotta relearn that type of pedal. Oh, brakes are good. But the no pedal, I don't know that it's timed as good as they claimed. We'll look into that. We'll go for a drive here in a second, but it's outside. Well, we came back. I failed. I did not film the first drive because we were hungry and we went to lunch. We had a wonderful Waffle House, and everyone who walked by it looked at it.
There's no missing it.
Even the birds showed up. We had no alarming fluid drips. We have confirmed 48 miles an hour was a comfortable speed. I have a lot more than 48 miles to go.
There's a lot of correction as you go down the road.
You drive it like you did if you were a cast member of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
We have a tremendous amount of parts to load up, a little bit of fluid to add. I've got some filming to do and cameras set up to get the drive home because we're doing it. Steering is safe. It's not it's just old truck wandering. Brakes adequate. It's shifting. Everything's doing what it should for now. So we're going on the plan. Top on the trailer. James in the powder keg. You'll be enjoying your
My nice warm Civic.
I also, Facebook reminded me 11 years ago today was the day I got my Scout 800. So
I guess it's appropriate times to bring silly off-roaders home. But Matthew, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. It's like you said, you're sad to see it go, but kind of happy also to see it leave.
But I do like seeing it drive down the road. Kind of hot.
I think we have officially driven it more than you have before rebuilding
How
it.
sad is that?
We're about to really drive it a whole lot, so off to work.
That looks nice.
Well, we found a fuel sending unit gasket, maybe not fully in place. So if you fill it up, don't. Also, this is gonna be an expensive trip, James.
Yeah.
At least you've been a cheap date.
Yeah, absolutely, always.
But between this and that thirsty girl. Situation report from inside the cab. We have gauges. We have them. They don't work, but we do have them all. We're currently leaking a bit of fuel until it, gets below full, and we're waiting for James to catch up. So lots of miles to go, and it's getting dark. Than it looks on the phone, and I light the road just past my hood. Plenty fine. So far so pretty good on the drive. I will say 35 to 42, not fun. You get a harmonic vibration, you kind of see it in the truck. Also, it's incredibly loud when you're going down the road. Not so much not having a top, but the tires. Anyone who's ever driven a Super Swamper, you know the Super Swamper song. Not quite a third of the way through, it's gotten dark, and the headlights pointed there weren't helping. So we've got them re-aimed. They're not perfect, but we might be able to see a little bit. Also, if you're
doing the thing, it's running 60 mile an hour.
You just can't see. Also, I decided I should clean the window. Wow, I haven't even cleaned the inside yet. Remember, discount code down in the comments, Wellworth. I love their stuff. Save you 10%. So we're gonna go ahead and get this glass clean. That's gonna help too, because anytime someone came up on me, I was completely blind and barely lighting up the road myself. So I'm guessing from the shop that was kind enough to leave it outside under a pine tree, that is glued to the windshield. So not that I could use them anyway, there's no wiring to them, but that's special. Haven't put gas in it yet. Again, we're right at about 75 miles. I don't want to put a lot of gas in it because it pours if you fill it. Filler neck things. And then, hey, James. James, where'd you go?
Right here.
How's life in powder keg?
Oh man, it cruises so good, so smooth. Big block life is the way.
Except for that.
Well, big blocks are like boats. They're better when it's somebody else's.
Also, are you enjoying the song of my tires?
I mean, I can't really hear it. You know, this truck seals up and it rides like a Cadillac. And
You're kind of lucky. Do you,
I had to-
you know the Super Somper song?
oh yeah, they definitely, I'm sure, are noisy.
So, well, we are going to finish prepping up and get out of this gas station and back on the road because 225 miles to go.
That's it.
See me because we're out in a super rural country, but my nose is running like a broke faucet. I think I still have hands, but I don't feel them. I can still feel my toes from the heat off the floorboard. And surprisingly, everything else seems to be going pretty good. We're just over halfway. Super swappers are screaming away, and James is loving life in the heated cab of powder keg. What was I thinking?
Welcome back.
We made it. We set out with the goal of taking a truck we didn't see, someone has been working on for 6 years, and we wanted to get it running and drive 300 miles in one day. And we did it. We got here before midnight. Now, Dwayne, don't be smart alecky and pull EXIF of this video file. I have a picture to prove it. We unloaded everything and set up this amazing scene. Huge thank you, James. I appreciate you spending your weekend with me and having some car fun. You got to drive a really nice truck. I got to drive a truck that will be really nice. Mathew, good job. I'm disappointed in the shops that didn't help you get those few little steps you needed to get there, because it was a lot of little problems and it can be frustrating to figure it all out, especially if that's not what you're used to. But obviously you built a truck with good bones, because we just drove 300 miles on a fresh build, and we'll go into more details why fresh builds to this level can be more scary than something that's been sitting in a field for 50 years. Mainly someone's messed with everything. But I'm going to come back and finish a little bit more in the daylight, and we'll wrap all this up later. It's just feels really good to get it done. I'm going to find something warm, just cover myself in for a little bit, maybe turn a heater on and something with a heater. So we'll see you guys. For you, it'll be right now. For me, it'll be tomorrow. We did something I thought would be a lot more fun than just going and getting something. We took a truck that hasn't started in 6 years and has had every nut and bolt on it touched, got it running, and drove it 300 miles in one day. And again, confirming with Mathew, that's far more than he had ever driven it before tearing it apart. He bought it, got it within AAA range, and had it towed home. So we have a lime green Ramcharger in the shop. It's something that I'm kind of excited about. I do like the Mopars. Not many people remember the Ramcharger. You think Blazer, you think Bronco, even the International Scout kind of pops up before a Ramcharger. So what are we doing with it?
Well, there's no shortage of projects, but I do want to get this thing finished up. I want to be able to invite Mathew to come up and go on a trail ride in it and get to experience some of the fruits of his labor. I'm going to say he did a pretty dang good job. Finding something in a field, fixing a few small things and driving it, definitely a challenge. Doing something blind where someone else is taking it completely apart and put everything back together leaves a large margin for error, and the truck did it. It needs some finishing, but it wasn't a finished truck. He had to, unfortunately, more or less give up on the project. He didn't have a garage anymore. He moved to the city and the house was sold. It had to go. But Mathew, you built a good truck. It has a lot of really good bones, but it needs some finishing, and that's what we're going to take a look at in the next episode. Now that we're in the shop, we're at home base, we can do a little bit more to it. We're going to get it up on the lift, give it a really good comprehensive once over, and come up with a game plan on what we're going to do to make this thing, I don't want to say perfect, but make it so it goes down the road just a little bit better than it did. There's one thing, there's a couple terrifying things, not related to Mathew's work, related to some previous work, but I'm pretty excited. A free lime green Ramcharger, I couldn't help myself. I couldn't say no, and I highly doubt any of you guys would have said no either. Because look at it. Look how cool this thing is. I think we accidentally ended up in a Christmas parade driving home. I don't know. There were cops. There were lights on trailers, and we got waved around. I don't know, but it was a lot of fun to drive, and now we've got another Mopar to play with here in the shop, and I'm excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. Hopefully this has got your attention. Again, next episode we are going to take a deep dive on this, figure out what we've got to do, tackle a couple of those things, and then we're going to work on some of the other Mopars and projects. We're rotating them all through the carousel because we've got to make progress on all of them. I even got something Toyota to bring over here and get done. So I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices and say yes to a lime green Ramcharger. What do you got to lose? Just look at it. We'll see you next time.